was thinking about this the other day. Just told her now we're getting in the deep end. Who do you think if you polled Americans, how many Americans know Caitlin Clark compared to Cael Sanderson? Would you say Cael Sanderson is the most famous wrestler? You know, when people think college wrestling, is he the most famous of all time?
Gable.
I would say Gable. Oh, yeah. They're still gonna say Gable.
So who do you think? So you think more people know? If you polled people, they would know
What
Dan
age
Gable's
range?
name
Currently,
over Cael Sanderson. Just
Yeah, I
Americans.
think Cael Sanderson's more interesting in that hypothetical.
Like just the general population.
Well, recency bias, right?
Yeah.
Well, whoever be the more popular.
She's only
Cael
got
Sanderson, Dan
160,000 followers on Twitter, which is crazy to me.
Gable. Who do you think people would know more? Caitlin Clark
Caitlin Clark, because she's been put on mainstream media.
or Cael Sanderson?
Yeah.
Look, these guys,
she is
all
getting
these
pushed to the masses.
How much did Nike pay for her to go? Him to go?
Travis Scott.
I mean, he just wanted to see
I'm
Jake
like
from
Travis.
State
I was
Farm.
talking to Evan last time. I'm like, well, Theo Vaughn was there. He's like, Dad, Travis Scott's so much more popular. I go, no, he's not. You guys look up
He is.
55
It's
million
ins-
on Instagram,
yeah.
and Theo's like 6 million or 3 million.
Yeah.
Music is universal.
And he goes, he's been on Fortnite twice. Dude, the mainstream media that's picking her up is like everyone.
Yeah.
So no matter if you're absorbing any sports media from anywhere, Pat McAfee all the way to ESPN, you've been introduced to Caitlin Clark. Why do you think she went to the WNBA? Dude, the way she's handled the, people say pressure, like her media requirements and just attention have to be nauseating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say she's going to the WNBA because she's probably not going to lose any money. And I feel like also there was a lot of narrative going around that her records weren't going to be legit because of her, even though she hasn't done 5 seasons, but people were saying there's going to like asterisk. So that's her way of being like, listen, I won't even do the 5th year. I'm just going to go make money with Indiana anyways. And
maybe she wants competition.
Maybe she doesn't like the pressure of having, she's everywhere she goes.
I mean, what else can she accomplish to raise her stock?
Right.
If Iowa goes and wins a national, if they're in the Final Four, national title. I mean, listen, I'm a women's wrestling expert or basketball expert, but the deal is that her value is so high right now. Can it go higher?
Right.
Right. So Iowa legit has a shot of winning a national title. So if it goes, they lose a lot of players this year, and they might not have as great of a team. Her value is super high right now. Take it and go.
Outside of football and men's basketball, it just goes to show you that your highest relevancy to the public is going to always be in college versus whatever's the next step. Like Olympic sports.
Yeah, but maybe she'll be like the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird for WNBA because
Here's what I'm telling you. Like,
I don't think
here's the other thing you got to think about. Her going, you got to think there's got to be a push from USA Basketball. If you're NBC and all these guys, now that she built this brand, to put her on the women's USA Basketball team, that's going to drive ratings for the Olympics. Her playing just because they can attach with it. She's got to be on Team USA for women's. Don't you think?
Is she going to be?
I mean, I think she would probably be. I mean, that's the first thing I thought about when she's
going to get paid then if she goes and wins a gold medal or something.
No, but they got to pay her just to be on the team because that's the only. Who else do you know that are on the team? Bill. No, but Bill. I mean, so you think of relevancy to just build a thing? Bill Burr had one of the best bits about talking about the WNBA was the only thing not to close during COVID because no one goes to the games.
Had it sustained.
You know what I mean? I mean,
it's
KXNO talked about this for an hour about how they thought that Caitlin Clark was going to change WNBA ratings and stuff like that. I don't see it. I don't see
in Indiana.
I mean,
come on, guys.
It's going to be
So
good
it's
for
like
Indiana.
$15
Yeah.
now.
I mean, Indiana Fever will take advantage of it and do well, but
you don't have the local thing. But the thing about I seen some on Instagram was like, ticket to Iowa versus Ohio State was like 4x what a ticket to watch Steph Curry was.
What would be there's not even an equivalent in wrestling where a ticket price has gone that higher for one person. I'm not saying for a dual meet, but like, has one individual ever raised the price of a ticket?
I wonder what Cael Sanderson did. We have to look at that.
Right.
It's in Albany, I think.
Well, what about his last dual meet?
Iowa State. It's not much of a. You got much baseline there.
Right. I'm definitely clipping this. Who's more popular, Cael Sanderson or Caitlin Clark?
I think it's a great conversation. I mean,
the poll right now.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Okay, is it even possible for one future like Bo Bassett, someone like that?
It's a completely different ceiling. Like
Not even close.
Just look at basketball. Look at basketball versus wrestling. Just
Amit Allure, she should be She would be the one, right?
She would be.
But she won't be in college, so she have no following. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's like Aaron Pico, or these guys that like forego like having in college presence. You don't have a fan base to follow them.
What if a middle lower goes to the Olympics and wins a gold medal?
It doesn't matter.
Then people would have been doing that for
Look at
stock.
Kyle Dake, you guys.
Yeah.
Look what he did in college. 4 different weights. He's went on one world. And his brand in the big scheme of things is not near. If he would have been in Iowa, I mean, these guys that didn't even win a national title is relevance. Or look at, I mean, Tony Ramos.
Okay,
Sir.
let me ask you this. Is this going to affect the future of women's wrestling? Little girls are watching Caitlin Clark instead of...
At the same time,
It
I also
definitely
think-
it definitely will. There'll definitely be girls that will want to go out for basketball. I think different
I
regions.
think it
will
already
be.
has.
Yeah, I think different regions, right? I mean, I would say it would affect probably boys too in boys basketball. Of like, hey, I can be on ESPN. Whether I don't know.
Okay.
It does
Yeah.
make a big
That's
effect.
why we need to have
Okay,
kids, right?
The earlier what I was saying, is there a wrestler that could even go on the run that Caitlin Clark's run? You guys are saying no, but Iowa Women's is building something for wrestling, right? And so if they get somebody that comes along and freaking does what Caitlin Clark does, smashes all the records or whatever like that, you don't think that ticket sales are going to start going? If she goes overseas, she wins a gold medal, whoever this person is, comes home, you don't think that that's going to improve ticket sales in Iowa City at all?
I think people will go, "Oh, nice, she's a Hawkeye," and then they'll move on.
I don't think any international success has directly affected college fan bases.
Women's
I
wrestling.
I would say
I'd
you're
say-
wrong because wait, the last part.
I'd say that fan bases, international wrestlers have fan bases or people that follow them because of college wrestling bases.
I would say Gable Stevenson, when he won the gold medal and he came back home, he was getting praise that he otherwise wouldn't have
and
had.
let's look up Minnesota's attendance records last year,
Yeah, I mean,
and that fizzled
They
out.
never knew
As soon as he walked away, it was over.
They never knew when he was wrestling.
I think like what you talked about, like affecting little girls wrestling, is like it's the first thing I thought about. Like if you're a boy right now and you're saying, "Oh man, making an Olympic team that's the dream you want to go do," now all of a sudden it's 4 out of 6. Like the odds of you actually doing it, knowing that the chances are coming less and less. You know what I mean?
so title is going to be, is Caitlin Clark bad for women's wrestling?
Let me ask you this: we talked about this on the show.
yeah,
We talked about this on the show.
That's actually
yeah,
pretty good.
she is.
Yeah.
we talked about this on the happy hour. Football is having conversations. There's conversations about them breaking away from the NCAA, right?
Yeah.
If that happens, I mean,
Oh, we're toast.
toast.
I mean, women's wrestling from a fan base is going to be super hard to grow outside of Iowa. I mean, I was at the regional, right? Let's say it's the Big Ten championship, and there was not there's not traveling fan bases outside of the families that are watching
It's
Iowa
international,
women's
too.
wrestling.
Yeah.
It's freestyle wrestling, which is fans just don't understand it.
I think that's,
Everybody wants to change the freestyle rules.
It's-
No one
it's-
watches freestyle to start with.
It's just never going to work. Women's wrestling's never, I don't say never, but it's just not going to be what the participation's going to be there, and it's growing fast. But I would say from a fan base, it's just never going to be where
There's no continuity.
Yeah.
it's going to be so tough.
Even at its biggest influx of growth right now that's happening, it's wrestling's so niche. It's not going to be able to ever compete with something like Caitlin Clark promoting girls basketball.
no.
I think even at its best.